Look, okay? I know there's a bad man in Brooklyn, New York. It's KD Trey, the assassin, big time. I get all of that. But Milwaukee, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? A national embarrassment, a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed. And I'm just getting started. We ain't even start first take yet. You know I'm ready. Good luck with this brother right here. Remember all the stuff that he been saying about KD. Giannis still the best player in the world, Max? Oh, you got a minute to answer that question. First take. You know what time it is.
Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they signed with Brooklyn for moments like this.
Day at a time, a second at a time, see what happens.
Gotta keep being nice. I hope we're gonna be okay.
Blake Griffin has found the youth.
Don't take anything for granted.
This is just a clinic every way possible.
We got a long way to go. Amazing team on the other side. They're gonna come with it.
Pretty embarrassing to say that. Okay, I like this little beat we got back here. Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, I'm Molly Karam Rose. Gentlemen, can we please talk about the NBA last night? Let's go. So you heard Stephen A. I wasn't the only one very confused when I turned this game on, and I thought it was going to be a competitive night, and it was absolutely the opposite. No James Harden. Instead, it was a beatdown, and Kevin Durant put on a clinic. Max, I think it's fair to say he's recovered. Kevin, how you feeling?
Tomorrow will mark 2 years since you initially injured your calf. I know you worked your butt off to get to this point, but did you ever think you'd be this good?
Is that a real question? Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
what you want me to say to that? Of course I did.
It's pretty impressive what you've been able to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But, I mean, that was 2 years ago. I'm looking forward to just getting up tomorrow and going to practice, watching film, and seeing how we can get better. But, I appreciate that. But, that was too long ago.
We gotta figure out what we gotta do to stop that, and stop. We can't stop it. Make that stuff as possible. I've said before that, he's Kevin Durant. He's one of the best scorers in the league. Like he's supposed to do this, but at the end of the day, we're just going to try to make the stuff as possible for him and show more bodies, just be more physical, and hopefully that can bother him a little bit.
Well, you're supposed to do it too, Giannis. All right, LeBron not only focused on Space Jam 2, also marveling at KD like the rest of us, tweeting this. That combo nasty, my goodness. Max Kellerman. Was this game more about the Nets or the Bucks?
The Nets, of course. The Nets, once you saw the way they came together, once you saw how quickly the defense improved when Harden joined the team, looked unstoppable. The fact that they're doing this without James Harden right now, when they still haven't really figured the defense out, not really like it's going to be in the next couple weeks, considering how quickly they figured it out the first time, is absurd. The only thing I could compare it to, it's like, and they can't stay healthy, it seems like. The Nets, like the universe doesn't want us to see that all. It's like too much. There's something called a singularity, Stephen A., a black hole, right? It punctures space-time. And you can't ever see into a black hole. That would be a naked singularity. It's like the universe doesn't want you to see its secrets almost. That's what I feel like it would be if James Harden were healthy on this team. That's why the basketball gods can't allow this team to be all healthy, because it's like, no, we know too much. The universe would explode. I mean, this is ridiculous. KD was completely unstoppable. Kyrie is the second best player on the team, and like how many second best players on a team are as good as Kyrie ever, right? Blake Griffin's Blake Griffin. Like, here's the thing. I know he didn't have a big stat line last night. Had a bigger one the day before, right? What was it? Close to 20 points, double-digit rebounds. But did you see him dunk all over Giannis?
Yeah.
That's Blake Griffin.
He's the guy who's dunking over cars and all that.
Yeah, that's Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's back. So it is a big three. And they got shooters everywhere. This Nets team, even without Harden, will challenge for a title. With James Harden, you might as well, there's nothing anyone can do. There is nothing anyone can do. Not the Bucks, not the Jazz, not no one, especially with James Harden.
To my producers, be ready to call up that Giannis quote when I ask for it in a second.
I want that same quote before Max started talking that Giannis quote. But before I get into Giannis, are you ready to admit for a second? Can we get to you? Are you ready to admit that they can win without James Harden?
It's possible.
Oh, no. Are you ready to admit it? Yes or no?
I never said. Yes. I never said no.
You really?
No.
I'm making that up.
Hold on.
I didn't say that.
Listen. I'm going to start asking for your comments.
Yeah.
You didn't say that, excuse me, Harden, not only is he the most important player, because I know that's not the same thing, but you talked about how...
I wouldn't pick them to get out of the East. Correct. I wouldn't pick them. That's not the same thing as saying they can't win.
Hold on, really?
You think that only the team you pick possibly can win?
Excuse me. You said in the middle of your soliloquy, your diatribe, or whatever word is appropriate, no, they need James Harden to get out of the East.
Okay.
Is that not the same as saying they ain't winning without James Harden?
Okay.
I'm sorry, am I making it up?
I don't want to go down this.
Am I making it up?
To pick a team and say this team is going to win, not that team is not.
I just asked you a direct question. I just asked you a question. Don't play words with me.
What I said,
the word
if you want to know my exact quote,
did you not say?
I don't think they're getting out of the East.
Did you not say they are not coming out of the East without James Harden?
Okay, let's say I did. I didn't, but let's say I did.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm just saying.
I didn't. I said I don't think they will.
Okay, that's fine. You might still be allowed to talk basketball since you're willing to admit.
Says the guy who got the finals wrong for 6 years in a row. What are you talking about?
That's right, I did. That's right, I did a few years ago. But unlike you, I'm willing to admit it and not dance around it like I'm moonwalking. Okay, that is what it is. Even though injuries played a role in that, but that's neither here nor there. That's okay. That's okay.
I don't have excuses except for this.
Unlike you, I got 3 decades of a resume. So let's be clear. Now here's the deal of winning, of being right and winning. Now let's get to the Milwaukee Bucks. Call that quote up from Giannis Antetokounmpo again, please. I want America to see this quote again from Giannis Antetokounmpo post-game last night. Could you play that, please? Anyway,
he's supposed to do this, and but at the end of the day, we're just going to try to make the stuff as possible for him and show more bodies, just be more physical, and hopefully that can bother him a little bit.
Cut! That is a disgrace. Who's the reigning defensive player of the year? Who's the reigning defensive player of the year?
Giannis.
That would be Giannis Antetokounmpo.
MVP and defensive player of the year.
MVP and defensive player of the year.
Jordan and Hakeem.
Tell me. 6'11".
Yeah.
It's not like Kevin Durant towers over everybody like he towers over everybody else that tries to defend him. Giannis is 6'11". Giannis is mobile. Giannis is 240. Why can't you guard him? You know why? Because KD is the best in the world. That's why. KD is the best offensive player on the planet. Ain't the best shooter. That would be Steph Curry. The best offensive player on the planet Earth. You can't stop this brother. He is unguardable. There is nothing that they could do, which is why I've repeatedly told you he is the most important component. He is the X factor. Give me Harden with Kyrie. Give me Kyrie with Harden. I don't give a damn. You're not going anywhere without Kevin Durant, but with Kevin Durant, you can go to the promised land. You can win 73 games in a season and go to the finals and lose, but Kevin Durant comes and before he plays a game, LeBron James is giving a concession speech in Boston at TD Garden talking about, I don't want to be stressed thinking about having to go up against KD and Steph and the Golden State Warriors. That's who the hell this dude is. And if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, let me say this. Budenholzer, I hope he's enjoying his days. How in God's name do you come out and start the game on a zone? A zone against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving with Joe Harrison. He's not making adjustments. You got your team helpless. You got Giannis. Listen, this is basketball, y'all. Yeah. You got Giannis. When you have a basketball player with Giannis's ability sitting there talking about, well, we can't do anything with them. I mean, we just got to figure it out as a group. We got to be more physical. No, you! Because in the sport of basketball, more than any other place, it comes down to you. When you have those abilities, you're supposed to stand up, man up, and go like this. I ain't going out like that. He dropping 30, I'm dropping 40. He dropping 40, I'm dropping 50. And if I can't stop him, damn it, he ain't going to be able to stop me. The Milwaukee Bucks laid down like raggedy dogs. Chris Middleton should be ashamed of himself. Drew Holiday should be ashamed of himself. Down 49 points? It's a national embarrassment. They should be ashamed of their damn selves. Go ahead.
I'll say this. I can't dispute what you're saying about the Bucks or Giannis. It was very disappointing if you're a Bucks fan. Very
embarrassing.
I don't think they win anyway, but it's very disappointing.
Yeah.
And
losing some pride, some dignity.
And if the Nets had James Harden, good Lord. Like, could it get even worse? I think it could.
By the way, James Harden and KD and them only played 3 quarters.
Right. But of course, yeah, they were up 40-something points.
3 quarters.
So one thing I'll say about KD is he's the best scorer, and he's also extremely smart. What KD understood, I think, at a certain point was branding. Hey, wait a minute. I'm walking around almost 7 feet tall. I can score every which way, defend, do all these things. And yet I'm not an all-time great, right? Because I don't have the hardware. I need a championship. So what he did was make sure that he had great teammates from there. And then he gets credit. Why? You're playing longer into the playoffs every year. You got the championships to validate it. Makes it real simple for everybody. Simple and plain. And now all of a sudden you're talked about differently. Now, I'm not disputing what you're saying about Giannis. I will point out that KD, even without Harden, when Blake is back to Blake, is part of a big 3 with shooters all around him again. Right. That Giannis, this is what I said when they got Drew Holiday, Stephen A. and people, Drew Holiday, I like him a lot. But you can't try to pass off Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday as 2 guys.
But you weren't. You weren't. What you're asking them to do is to do their job. What you're asking them to do their job.
I'm not disputing that. I'm saying you need
guys, real quick,
teammates.
let me ask you this. You want to stay with this? We can get to the Suns, but I feel like there's a lot more. I'd like to stay here.
We could come back to this. We could come back to this.
You want to come back?
One more thing. Budenholzer, good luck with keeping that job. Jason Kidd used to coach there. You might want to bring him back because Giannis loved him. Okay. Yeah. Or by the way, Sam Cassell, who you brought up yesterday, who did he used to play for? Milwaukee. I'm just saying, enough's enough. This is ridiculous.
One last thing before we move on. Is it fair to say Kevin Durant has fully recovered? Everyone was concerned about this Achilles. Will he get back to being KD?
I got to see that offense. Like, this is the thing about KD that people sleep on, in fact. It's not just that he was the best scorer in the game, and his passing obviously is at new levels in the last several years, like when he's been healthy. He also became an elite and versatile defensive player. He has to do that again and sustain that. And then I'll say,
he looked real healthy to me last night.
Please, they don't have to play
offense
defense.
For sure.
Yeah,
they don't have to play defense. They can average 150.
There's clearly a lot more meat on that bone, so we'll get back to that game a little later. But I saw a rising sun last night. It was just shining. As for the Nuggets, things got real shady. A 17-point win thanks to Devin Booker, Chris Paul, who both put up 21. Oh, and that home cooking in Phoenix, yeah, that helped too. CP3 clean at the post-game press conference.
This crowd is crazy. It's crazy, y'all. To have the fans in there, the energy, it's nothing like it. You know, and I told the guys this is why we fought so hard during the regular season to get home court advantage. And I think we truly had that with our fan base here. It's almost like wrestling. It's like you tagging in. You know, you go out the game and there's no drop off. It's just another unit coming in as just keeping pressure on you. And I think that's the benefits of having a team like we have.
Stephen A., I'll start with you here. What do you think was the main reason for Phoenix's victory?
2 things.
Okay.
Not taking anything away from abundance of other dudes that showed up, because Bridges was special last night. I was proud of that brother. But CP3, my God. I mean, for him to come out in the second half, because Bridges and those boys were balling, and it was like CP3 was saying, don't forget about me. And he comes back into the game off the bench, and just a couple of pull-up J's, and then that step back 3. He didn't yell, ask about me, but he might as well have. It was something special to behold. It really, really was, to just see him go on a little spurt like that, to be pretty much the smallest dude on the court other than Campazzo, and to do what he was doing. It was special. The other thing is this, and this is just nostalgia. You can call it whatever you want, Max. You know, I've been covering the NBA for over a quarter century. And, about a quarter century. Been in the business over a quarter century, but I've never covered the NBA that long. And to this day, my hair still stands up on my skin. And I mean, I love crowds. I love that environment. You know, when you used to travel to the Oracle and to watch Clay and to watch Steph rain threes was special. But that Phoenix crowd right there, it's special to watch. I'm going to go out there for a game. It's special to see. They have a true, real home court advantage. And I'm telling you right now, I understand COVID's going on and all of this other stuff. If other teams that play against them don't find a way to get their fans in their arenas, and they ain't like that, you ain't beating Phoenix. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, that crowd is the proverbial sixth man, and it is special to see. It's a treat to watch this game. You want to be there when you're watching
That's a home
game.
court advantage.
No question.
Especially coming out of social distancing.
Yes.
And now you see that. You felt like they fed off the energy.
100%. They went on a 39-12 run.
Right. That's
unreal in like the third to fourth quarter. Yeah.
And Chris Paul, also, when you talk about the jump shot, the timing. Chris Paul seems to have the timing exactly right when his team needs
He's so
what.
clutch.
But that's not who I'm focused on. I think the story was actually DeAndre Ayton. And the reason is going into these playoffs. And by the way, some of that's Chris Paul. Like, what's Chris Paul's influence going to be on Ayton? Everyone thought that he'd have a positive influence. Mm-hmm. But DeAndre Ayton was young and raw. You couldn't call him a bust. Even though he's in that same draft, Luka went third and Trae Young went fifth. He went first, right? But you still couldn't call him a bust because he's putting up numbers. Trae went 4, and Luka went 3.
They swapped.
And Bagley Jr. went 2. And he went 1. And you still couldn't call him a bust because, well, hold on, this is a center, a big, who could do a lot of things. He's already averaging almost like 20 and 10. Mm-hmm. But how would he react in the playoffs when he has to go up against AD and Jokic? Ooh, that's a disadvantage. He's too green. Nope. Even before AD got hurt, like, he was a problem. You have to account for him. Offensively and now also defensively. Jokic. One of the reasons I was confident in Denver is what are you going to do about Jokic's passing ability? Even if you can stop him from scoring, which is hard, he can take you out to the three-point line. He can score inside, and he's a genius-level passer with eyes in the back of his head. What are you going to do? Ayton bothered him. Like, Jokic in the second half looked like he had been working. And that's DeAndre Ayton, and then Ayton can also get his. So I'm not saying Ayton is better than Jokic, but he's a counterbalance. He's a balance to Jokic in this series. And considering Ayton was the guy coming into this season who was actually the biggest question mark, your number 1 overall pick was already pretty good. One of the reasons I liked him since the preseason. Wait, a backcourt of Chris Paul and Booker? You got Mikal Bridges, and I keep bringing up Cam Johnson, who's off the bench now because you have Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton is your, hey, what's he going to give you? If he gives you this, the Suns are live to get out of the West. If Ayton gives you that.
Listen, Ayton definitely negated Jokic to some degree. He dropped 20 and 10 last night. He's been very consistent throughout these playoffs and deserves a lot of credit. And if he continues to do that, he deserves all the praise that Max has given him, and I'm not knocking that. On a side note, you brought up Marvin Bagley. He's been pretty much hurt the last 2 years, so I'm not going to get on him. Missed about 29 games this past season. Missed about damn near 70 games the season before that. It's been injury prone. I get it. But if you Marvin Bagley, we're going to remind you again, my brother, member of the Sacramento Kings. You got DeAndre Ayton now. You got Luka. You got Trae. And in the middle is you. You're on the verge of being considered Darko Milicic, all right? Get it together, my brother. You got to be in that mix, okay? So get your health right and get ready to
don't want to be known for freestyling more than
That's right. You got your rap album that came out in 2019, but you paid to play ball. Let's get it together. In the end, when it comes down to getting back to Phoenix, I'm just telling you, that crowd is something. And Mikal Bridges showed up last night and showed out. This brother was balling, and I've been a fan of Cameron Payne now, watching him throughout these playoffs, coming off that bench, filling in for CP3 the way that he has. He's aggressive, made some heady mistakes last night, but for the most part, he's been playing very, very well, and he's aggressive. These cats ain't scared of anybody. The only thing is, I will say this that I noticed, Max. Aaron Gordon, guarding Devin Booker. Now, Devin Booker didn't look like he looked against the Lakers.
Aaron Gordon's been excellent for this team.
This dude,
both ends of the floor.
This dude, both ends of the floor. Yeah. He's strong. He's a mismatch for almost anybody who's guarding him.
You can't leave him alone on the outside. He shoots that with confidence.
I understand that, but the point is that he can big boy them.
Yeah.
And that's a problem because if he's successful in doing that, Max, then they'll need to bring help. That help might come in the form of an Ayton. If that happens and you're able to get him into foul trouble, you got a problem because yesterday, like late in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, Ayton picked up his first foul. So if you're Denver and you coach Malone, you got to attack him to get him out of the game and make them go small because there's really no answer for Jokic anyway.
That's a very good analysis.
But especially if you get Ayton in foul trouble.
Hold up, I just have to say one thing about the home court, though. Do you see when Booker laid down on the court like he did last year? When you talk about the home court going nuts, you know what I'm talking about when he lays down after he makes the shot? It's just like ridiculous.
One thing about
I'm going nuts in my living room.
One thing about that is since we're talking about home court and the Suns have it and they defended it.
I wish we had. I don't know if we have the video of when that happened.
Denver's mile high.
Yeah.
Like Denver's an actual home court advantage. These dudes are used to playing at altitude. Other teams aren't. So,
That's true.
But
that puts more pressure on you to win at home because it's going to be that much tougher in Denver.
The Suns are going to have to defend home court in this series. They're good, and they did. Game 1, they did, but Denver got another crack at it.
Listen, we didn't have home court advantage last season, so it's fun to kind of see that play out right now.
No doubt.
It's special.
All right. We are still on camera here, Stephen A., but we're going to talk Cowboys next. Are they the best team in the NFC? Do they have the best offense? I was going to ask you for a preview of your answer, but this is just disrespectful.
You said Cowboys at best. You made me laugh.
Yes, best offense. Whatever.
The NFC East?
Whatever, guys. And money talks, but is it loud enough for Aaron Rodgers to change his tune? Our guys debate whether the Packers should make Rodgers happy and just trade him already.